Tonight on CFTK-TV News, a wildfire that wasn't far from Terrace is now being held. Smithers also had to deal with a nearby fire but saw it put all the way out. And BC food banks have really been struggling this summer.
Northwest BC's only television news team. We are CFTK-TV News.
Good evening, I'm Cale Maslin, and here's what's making the news in the Northwest and beyond for today. The BC Wildfire Service said a blaze that was classified as of note last week is now held, meaning it's not projected to expand past its current perimeter. The 215-hectare Little Oliver Lake Creek wildfire near Terrace was one of two fires of note, which are blazes that are highly visible or are threatening public safety. The service said there was no growth for 2 days and the fire's 80% contained, but smoke may remain visible from Terrace and surrounding areas. A second blaze that was classified as of note 2, the Hook Creek wildfire near the Yukon boundary, was also downgraded Friday but is still classified as out of control. The BC Wildfire Service stated that helicopter bucketing made short work of a new wildfire discovered near Smithers over the weekend. The service also said the blaze was quickly snuffed out with the help of a pair of helicopters, leading to the fire being classified as held and then being completely put out within only a few hours. The Wildfire Service next said more than half a dozen new wildfires were discovered over this past weekend, with the number of blazes burning across the province hovering around 150 or so. The BC Wildfire website last said over 1.5 million acres have burned so far this year. After delays that were caused by both their not too far in the rearview mirror major water crisis and the COVID pandemic before that, the city of Prince Rupert is now reportedly set to begin implementing its pilot project involving new wastewater treatment. But despite the plans of the city, a local business owner named Terry Saka is concerned about Prince Rupert's recent change that will see the location of the project move from the Amaneka area to the Moresby Pond area. Saka's main concern with the change appears to be that green space could potentially be lost for a project that is not guaranteed to work, as well as the possibility of contamination of the surrounding park area. Prince Rupert city officials are said to be willing to discuss the project further with the public. The province and Energy and Natural Resources Canada are investing $195 million in the Tahltan territory, which will enhance road safety and reliability, including opening up better access and to create more service for First Nations and local communities. Upgrades will be made to Highways 37, 37A, and 51, which have long been a top priority for the Tahltan central government to address travel safety and essential services access for people in these remote areas. Of notable, the Highway 37 will see improvements, including widening shoulders, creating pullouts for slow-moving vehicles, adding chain-up and chain-off areas, as well as increasing Wi-Fi access along 800 kilometers of roadway. Rob Fleming, the Minister of Transportation and Infrastructure, said that safety is the #1 priority going forward. The Ministry of Transportation hopes to improve access for industrial development, as well as supporting community resiliency and reconciliation with the First Nations communities. For this project, the Ministry of Transportation provided $120 million. Coming up next, a doctor is dealing with the fallout of a controversial post on Donald Trump's near-death experience. Welcome back. We now turn to Craig Krause for a report about a post on X, formerly known as Twitter, that was met with backlash due to comments made on the attempt on Donald Trump's life.
After immense backlash, the University of British Columbia came out with a brief statement addressing the comments that were made on social media over the weekend from Dr. Karen Pinder, and they said they are aware of this and they are investigating and looking into the matter. We're going to bring up the tweets and screenshots of those right now, and as you can see on your screen, Dr. Pinder, a professor in the Faculty of Medicine, took to social media and posted, "Damn, so close, too bad." Then in response to a reply wishing the shooter had better aim, Pinder said, "What a glorious day it could have been." Pinder's account has since been deleted, but that hasn't stopped the tens of thousands of screenshots from being reposted across social media and on X, along with calls for Pinder to be fired. BC Conservative leader John Rusted responded by saying, "This is so disappointing to see from a UBC professor. No classroom in this province should have room for this kind of radicalism. This isn't about left versus right, it's about right versus wrong." And CTV News has reached out to UBC several times to try to get an update on the investigation and if there will be consequences for Dr. Pinder. We've yet to hear back on that topic, but in that statement over the weekend, UBC said they do not condone any of this violence that we're seeing south of the border. I've also personally reached out to Dr. Pinder to try to get a statement from her, and we've yet to hear back. Craig Crow, CTV News, Vancouver.
Now over to a report from Kate Hutchinson on how the summer is not only giving residents a tough time in their efforts to stay cool, but has also coincided with the struggles of food banks to stay stocked up properly.
In the heat of summer, bare shelves are casting a cold shadow on local food banks.
The lowest that I've seen it in a very long time. You know, there are some things on the shelves. You have a lot of liquids right now and a lot of dish soap and things like that. But this is the first time in probably many years that I have seen the shelves this bare.
It's an issue spanning Greater Victoria.
We are almost running out of food every day. We are purchasing food at higher volumes than we've ever purchased food, but that doesn't go as far as it used to.
Both the Victoria Mustard Seed and Saanich Peninsula Alliance Food Bank say the number of people accessing their services continue to rise, while donations are down.
There isn't a day here at the food bank where we aren't registering new families and new people who need an extra hand.
The high cost of food continues to squeeze both residents and the buying power the organizations have with cash donations.
The donors who used to bring us $500 a year are now maybe only bringing us $100 a year.
We are able to make our dollars go a little bit farther because we do get wholesale relationships with some of the grocery partners, and while that's helpful, we all know the cost of everything has gone up, so unfortunately our dollar is not going as far as it used to.
And with kids out of school, it puts extra pressure on families.
But what happens in the summer is we see an actual increase in families needing more help because kids are home from school, the meal plans aren't helping supplement in their school days, kids are going to summer camps and things like that, so people are having a hard time providing all of those meals.
Both food banks say they desperately need snacks for kids, cereal, canned goods, and protein sources like canned meat and peanut butter.
We need it for today, for tomorrow, because you know we can't wait on shipments coming from down the road. You know, we need it now.
Kate Hutchinson, CTV News.
In some recently collected statistics, it was revealed that the annual sporting event of the Calgary Stampede wasn't super far off from matching its all-time single-year attendance record. Tyler Barrow will discuss those numbers and some adversity that the Stampede had to face in their effort to take care of their guests.
People flooded through the gates of the 2024 Calgary Stampede. As of Sunday, it had recorded over 1.3 million guests, approximately 78,000 shy of the all-time record from 2012.
I think we could arguably say that this was the greatest of the greatest outdoor shows on Earth.
And there were challenges: water worries, extreme heat, and the cost of living crisis many are facing.
You think about just how resilient this city and Calgarians are. Just look at what we've been through over the last few weeks with the broken water main. When we say we're the greatest here in Calgary, we really mean it.
And those who made their way down to the ground say they would come back.
There's so many people here and it's just so enjoyable, and you can eat all the junk food and actually not feel guilty about it.
Coming again and again and again. Let's go.
The show didn't go off without some issues. On Sunday, a horse was euthanized after suffering an injury. This was the fourth animal euthanized this week.
The critics of our animal activities will say this is unacceptable. Quite frankly, we agree. But unacceptable to us means we have more work to do.
A few of those critics displayed this sign for those attending the rodeo to see.
It's time that we started thinking about a new future for the Stampede.
And while organizers wait for the final attendance tally to come in, work has already begun for next year's Stampede. Tyler Barrow, CTV News, Calgary.
Turning to tonight's weather, the North Coast is set to end up with mostly rain and a low hovering at around 14 degrees. The Terrace-Kitimat area will be home to a chance of showers, plus a low at 16 degrees. And the Bulkley Valley and Lakes District should get mostly clear skies and a low down at 8 degrees. On the North Coast, the next week or so should almost exclusively be rain and clouds, plus the high will shift from 17 to 15 degrees. In the Terrace-Kitimat area, the week for them will also mainly see clouds and rain, although some sun may also appear too, while the high bounces between 26 and 16 degrees. And in the Bulkley Valley and Lakes District, the upcoming week should deal with a mix of mixed sunny and cloudy days, while a rainy day sneaks in as well, plus the high should move from 30 to 24 degrees. Checking out the highways now, visit Drive BC for the latest and up-to-date conditions, and as always, drive safe out there. On Highway 16, there is utility work, bridge maintenance, construction work, and electrical maintenance. Highway 118 has some bridge construction. Highway 37 has some paving operations, mowing, roadside brushing, maintenance, and frost heaves. And there's some bridge maintenance on the Nishka Highway. And this is what the roads were looking like this afternoon around the region from the View of the Province's highway cams. Still to come, an ongoing Ontario strike is starting to have consequences for various parties. Welcome back. The still ongoing LCBO strike in Ontario has now been happening for a bit over a week, and it's starting to cause some problems for businesses that really depend on LCBO. CTV's John Musselman now will provide more information on the strike.
As we enter day 10 of the strike, it has become apparent that restaurants and bars are feeling the impact. They are struggling to restock, and union officials say it's directly linked to these resupply trucks getting blocked at LCBO warehouses.
This is where restaurants and bars get provided. Right now, we're on the side of the road preventing trucks from coming in and trucks from going out. They had some trucks on the property that they kept overnight that they've loaded. They're not getting off the property.
The government has once again been forced to pivot on a plan to reopen 32 stores on July 19th. It now says the stores will remain closed. Here's a statement from Restaurants Canada. It says bars attempting to restock are consistently finding the products they need out of stock or extremely limited availability, with only a small selection of products available at any given time. We have voiced the experiences, concerns, frustrations, and outright fears of our members as we move well into the second week of a strike. Restaurants Canada says a new system is now in place to allow wider access to products, but if it can't be delivered, it won't solve the problem. This truck driver waiting at the Mississauga warehouse explains what's happening.
Most of the trucks are loaded, and they're just not letting us go out. They usually let us out around 4 in the afternoon when it's too late to do any deliveries. So we end up just going back home.
The union has said it only holds trucks up for 30 minutes at a time. It had threatened to picket any stores that reopen. There are security officers on site attempting to negotiate with striking workers, but the trucks are not moving.
They need to come to the table. We put the LCBO put an offer on the table. We have yet to see the leadership of OPSU come to the table. I find it ironic how a premier can return over more than 350 calls I lost track of, but their labor leader won't return any of their calls.
Meanwhile, the province has taken a new direction in this labor dispute. This morning it announced it will speed up plans to bring more beer and ready-to-drink spirits to 450 grocery stores beginning this Thursday. It accelerates the government's plan by 2 weeks.
John Musselman, CTV News, Toronto.
Toronto's downtown Spadina and Bloor Street intersection, which has a reputation for being quite busy, is currently in the midst of a closure that is appearing to be quite disruptive for many people.
With crews now working on the now closed intersection of Spadina and Bloor, those traveling around downtown this summer have reached a general understanding.
I mean, you live in Toronto, man. It doesn't matter where you go, there's going to be construction. It's a city always under construction.
For the next 7 days, this intersection will be closed for reconstruction of the road base, sidewalk replacement, and raised bicycle tracks. For those who left home on a Monday morning to find this,
It was awful. We had to come down and then cross over here, so it's been really inconvenient.
This woman saying that the city needs to notify people better before closing a major intersection.
I didn't even know that they were going to close this off this morning, so yeah, I think they can do better.
In a year where construction, road maintenance, and lane closures appear to be everywhere, from the removal of streetcars along Spadina to the constant gridlock along the Gardner,
It's crazy. It's construction all the time.
A little too much. Got to spread it out.
but the constant noise, closures, and rerouting for cars and pedestrians seems for some to be the story of life in Toronto.
It's been like this since I was a kid. I'm 30, man. It's been like this all the time.
So they may be resigned to living through more.
If someone had an idea how to do it better, I think they'd be the world leader by now. Honestly, it doesn't surprise me.
A scary situation happened recently on a plane that was set to head out from San Francisco as smoke began to appear in the cabin from a source that people may not have initially guessed. Jan Jankai has the report.
This morning, the tense moments during that emergency evacuation of a passenger plane getting ready for takeoff from San Francisco. Smoke filling the cabin.
We got a mayday, mayday, mayday. There's a fire in the back of the aircraft. Start the fire rescue.
Passengers boarding the American Airlines jet when the crew called for help.
The flames were huge. They were up to the ceiling.
Jan Jankai says the backpack under his father's seat ignited, the flames growing quickly. Jankai says he tried to throw that backpack out of the emergency door, but a flight attendant stopped it.
At that moment, I just dropped the bag for a second, and my father just took it and threw it out because it was at that point still burning. And for us, the logical thing to do is throw the burning thing outside.
Passengers pushing to the front of the plane, a flight attendant deploying the emergency slides.
I can see them exiting the fire department just off your right-hand side. They should be there in 2 minutes.
This video showing passengers on the tarmac shortly after the incident. Firefighters finding the source of the smoke, confirming it was a battery fire, which American Airlines tells us came from a laptop in a passenger's bag. First responders appearing to place what may have been a laptop in a container of water.
And now we turn our attention to the stock market's pre-closure. The Canadian dollar is down 16/10 of a cent. The price of gold is up $16.60. Oil is down 33 cents. Natural gas is down 9 cents. Aluminum is up $4.50. In Toronto, the TSX is up 106.15 points. The Venture Index is up 1.33. In New York, the Dow Jones is up 209.67, and Nasdaq is up 85.21. Still ahead, a notable actress has unfortunately passed on not too long ago. Welcome back. An actress who found herself in the spotlight on a quite notable 1990s teen drama series has sadly passed away recently. NBC's Chloe Melas has more details on her passing and a look back at her life and career.
As Brenda Walsh, Shannon Doherty shot to fame with a starring role in the 90s hit Beverly Hills 90210.
I'm Brenda Walsh. I'm studying pre-law, pre-med, and premenstrual. I'm not really sure which one.
Part of an iconic ensemble cast that spoke to a generation of teenagers and defined a pop culture moment, launching a new TV genre, the teen drama. The series, produced by Aaron Spelling, tackled taboo issues like drug abuse, teenage suicide, racism, eating disorders, and date rape.
I think the reason that we're so popular among young people and adults is that we're a show that's controversial and we give credit to our audience for being intelligent.
But for Doherty, the drama didn't stay on screen. As her character gained a bad girl reputation, so did she.
Do you want a drag?
Feeding into the Wild Child rap, tabloid headlines, an ex's request for a restraining order, and a spread in Playboy. She left 90210 after 4 seasons, headlines at the time claiming she had been fired for her difficult behavior. Years later on her podcast, she explained the personal issues affecting her work.
There were really hard moments for me towards my last season. I was in a really horrible marriage.
While 90210 marked the height of her fame, Doherty grew up on camera, playing Jenny in the final season of Little House on the Prairie.
Goodbye for now.
an astronaut on the series Our House,
Heather.
and starring in the cult classic Heathers.
Because I can be.
After 90210, she returned to television in Charmed, before reprising her most famous role in the 2019 reboot of 90210.
It's kind of nice to be back.
For Doherty, it was an opportunity to reassure her fans after being diagnosed with breast cancer in 2015. She was candid about her battle with cancer, detailing her treatment and trying to raise awareness.
I thank everyone for their love and kindness and going on this journey with me.
After announcing that her cancer had spread and was terminal, she launched a podcast, serving as her memoir. Shannon Doherty, a teen icon who inspired millions with her brave fight. Chloe Malas, NBC News.
A niche grocery store in Prince Rupert is closing next month after 5 years in business. Birch & Boar, a specialty store selling cured meats and other goods, said they endured the pandemic, parking troubles, embezzlement, rising costs, break-ins, and fires over its lifespan. The store also said in a Facebook post that the issues it faced in downtown Prince George stretched the business too thin and they'll close on August 2nd. Birch & Boar stated that it hoped that the city's downtown would get revitalized and become vibrant and safe. It thanked their customers in the community, adding that an affiliated bakery that makes sourdough will also close. Nanaimo Mayor Leonard Krog said that a brush fire at a popular city park is believed to have been caused by a group of youth setting off fireworks last Friday. Krog also said the fire damaged undergrowth at Piper's Lagoon Park, declaring it an act of pure stupidity to light fireworks on a day when a provincial campfire ban became effective. Krog next said the blaze should be a warning to citizens to pay attention to fire bans and regulations. The mayor last stated he didn't know if any of the alleged suspects were apprehended, but fire crews managed to extinguish the blaze despite the area being difficult to access. The police chief in Victoria stated that the department has seen an increase in violence against first responders, including both paramedics and firefighters. Chief Constable Dale Manick next said in his statement that such behavior is unacceptable. The statement came after police confirmed a man had been arrested back on Thursday after assaulting a paramedic on Pandora Avenue in the city, which Manick called a wake-up call. He said he held an emergency meeting with the mayor and other city leaders not long ago, and it was decided that paramedics won't respond to calls for service in the Pandora Avenue area, at least not without any police presence for protection. Former BC Green Party leader Andrew Weaver said the recent decisions of several NDP cabinet ministers not to seek re-election tells him some members are not satisfied with David Eby's leadership style. Weaver said it appears Eby controls government from his office while ex-Premier John Horgan allowed cabinet members more leeway. Environment Minister George Heyman, one person not running in the October election, said he cannot speak for his fellow co-workers, but he is 75 and is looking to slow down a bit. Weaver's comments came after Eby said he found it bizarre that Weaver, an internationally respected climate scientist, is considering aligning with the BC Conservatives leader, who recently said he would prohibit teaching about climate science in classrooms. That is all of our news for now. From all of us here at CFTK-TV News, I'm Cale Maslin, and thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.